Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor, and I'm so excited and honored to be here. I feel it's very auspicious because I have an incredible guest that is so related to what Spirituality Now podcast is: leadership, life mastery, and practical spirituality. And I just completed a training of 21 days in the Shaolin culture, in the Vipassana trainings, Tai Chi, Qigong, everyday practices, tea ceremony, nonstop. It was like a 24/7 training, besides focusing on the launching of our new book and a couple of other books that are coming in the next years, and simplifying everything for hopefully in the late years of our life, just to serve people, just access the calm, master the storms, and just very simple. I'm actually giving everything away. I'm going through a process of of detachment. So, anywho, so I find it very auspicious that I just came out of this, and I have an incredible guest today that I must honor. How I met my guest, because I met him through my beloved mentor that I call him my modern body dharma. His name is Tim Grover, the mentor of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, trainer. It's more than mentor. This man is a legend. And along with him and his co-author, Shari Wang, they have introduced me so incredible people. I think I owe them. I have to send them a check because I've had the best guests thanks to them in the Spirituality Now podcast. And it's cool because these are higher achievers that are winning through life, and they have their spirituality so high, because for me, the high spirituality is the results and the elevation and the service you render to the world. I don't care if you meditate 20 hours. I don't care if you, are awake 24/7. I don't care what you do. I just care if you serve, if you have results, and if you don't give up when you fall, and just rise. And these are my guests. And so thanks to shout out to Tim Grover and Shari Wang again. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my beautiful guest. His name is Vineet Shah, and he is an orthopedic surgeon currently practicing in Chicago, Illinois, who serves as a medical director of orthopedics for Advocate Medical Group for Chicago. Vineet was born in Mumbai, India, beloved India, to two physician parents. His father is a pediatrician and mother is a gynecologist. And I do want to mention them because for Vineet, his parents are, I think, the most important people in his path. He watched his parents do some groundbreaking work in the tribal villages outside Mumbai and served mothers and children for many years. Vineet holds his parents in the highest regards. They are his inspiration and role models for life and as physicians. They have worked to serve and not for the financial rewards. Highlight that, everyone. Neither of his parents has even taken any money from the thousands, and I mean thousands, of patients they treated when in India, living off meager government doctor salaries. The idea of service, or seva, has been an integral part of Vineet's fabric. He feels that service of man is service of God. Manas seva is Dev Seva. This philosophy has directed his practice of medicine. The World Health Organization recognized Vineet's parents' work, and they were sent to Mogadishu, Somalia, to help establish the maternal and child health for the country. Vineet spent 2 wonderful years in Mogadishu, in a country where people had little but had big smiles and lived life to the fullest. Vineet's parents then were recruited to the headquarters of the World Health Organization in Switzerland, where Vineet grew up and attended the International School of Geneva. After his high school education in Geneva, Vineet came to the U.S. and completed his undergraduate education at the University of Michigan. He's an incredible orthopedic surgeon. We're going to talk about his work here, but I want to complete this with, we're reading a little bit more of his bio, because I want you to feel that this is not only one of the top surgeons I believe in the world. I'm going to say that because I cheer for my allies, but also in spirituality. He believes in living a spiritual life, focusing on the pillars of Satya, which is truth, Dharma, we're going to talk about this, righteousness, Shanti, peace, Prema, love, and Ahimsa, nonviolence. And we're going to talk about teachers that I met. His teacher, Sai Baba, I was in his house. I had a very interesting experience. But just to complete his bio, our beautiful Vineet feels that God resides in one's heart, and any place you close your eyes and think of God, God is omnipresent. My ally, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. I really appreciate the introduction, and I also want to thank Tim and Sherry for not only you but all the other allies that we've been blessed to get to know and to learn from. So, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very grateful.
Yes, and Beneath, your bio, and we were talking about behind the scenes, that you sent a background of yours, but I chose to read a little bit more about it because I mean, the your job, the way you have helped hundreds of people, just you are a surgeon, right? So I just paid tribute to all the training, all the incredible work you had to do just to be that. That's like winning to the next level. I want to say the words that Mr. Grover told you. He said that you were the like in the basketball lockers. If I remember well what he said, that people there or when they're training, they talk to each other like when they know that there's someone of excellence, they say, you are the baddest mother ever on the room. And I remember Mr. Grover saying that to you. So I want to honor that. And because it takes guts, it takes training, it takes sweat, it takes hours and hours of devotion, of commitment, not only to mastery for you, but to be able to help others. So I want to start, Vineet, asking you, where did this, and I know your parents are primordial for this for you to choose to become who you are, but where did Vineet started? I want to see what was little Vineet thinking that had him choose this incredible path of service to humanity.
That is an interesting question, and it's a memory that I will never forget. And I'm an only child, so a lot of times my parents did not have people to care for me, and when they had to run to the hospital, I used to go with them. And I still remember they worked at the JJ Hospital in Mumbai, India, and I still remember being there in the hallway and just watching my parents take care of patients, interact with people, and as a child, you see when there's appreciation or gratitude from others. If your parents are helping, and to me, I just used to I found that very fascinating. That they're able to work so hard in a profession and there is appreciation, but they had a sense of satisfaction. So I still remember to this day, it must have been about 5 or 6 years old, and I said, what, this might be something where I might want to pursue this as I get older. And that kind of stuck in my head, and it's kind of lingered along my high school education and things like that. And oddly enough, Yvonne, my parents as physicians dedicated their entire life to healthcare, try to persuade me to do something different. They said, be your own
Really?
person. Don't follow us. Don't, which was pretty unique. And I respected that, but I still, realized that this seemed to be my calling, and that which seemed to I felt would give me the satisfaction in the long run.
Wow. This satisfaction is the key, is the difference between people that really live lives of fulfillment and elevate others versus people that live lives of success. Success is pretty lukewarm because success limits you to you. I'm successful by what I got, but what I've accomplished by my comeback is all about me, me, me. But fulfillment is truly about the people. Fulfillment is truly to know that you are doing something in earth that matters, to contribute to. Actually, I have experienced that when I'm the most fulfilled, I rarely think about me. It's such an encompassing love for whatever you do or who you serve, and I feel that from you. And so it's a rare thing that you said that your parents, right, from India, this is the same culture in Mexico. It's like that they ask you, follow our path, become a doctor, become a teacher, and suddenly it's like, don't follow our
Yeah.
path. So
Yeah.
wow, this is such a blessing. And then I think we're wired differently because if someone tells us don't go there, we'll go there, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but I love your sense of joy, Vinny. I'm feeling a sense of joy. I'm feeling a sense of like of fulfillment since you were little. And so when you were growing up, and I know you speak seven languages, you were so trained and you were in the most prestigious education systems. I want to know because people are gonna hear this. I'm like, oh my God, you are the illuminated doctor. I'm already making you the illuminated doctor, right? But what challenges did you face growing up, having this support from your parents, having this incredible role model of Sebas, of deep, pure service to others without attachment to money? I am sure that you faced some challenges, some dark sides, some shadows that you had to not only defeat but understand so you could help become who you chose to become at this time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the journey coming to the United States alone, that itself was the first kind of challenge that I had to deal with. Trying to get accustomed to this culture, to the education system, and without a doubt, I had challenges going through undergraduate and then graduate program and then medical program. But not just the education part, but even the competitiveness to try to get into the medical world. The medical school and then residency and then fellowship. So those challenges, and I'm not the only physician that has to deal with that. All of us have to, but they really, really pushed me to a point where I had to devote my entire time, energy, to just focusing on getting to that point of success. And there was no time to sit back. And it took its toll as I went through that formative years. But I think over the time and as I reflect back, I think those were, those are part of any individual's stepping stones to reaching to a point where you feel that okay, I've worked hard, I've tried to do the best I can, and I've been able to get to a specific point. I mean, even getting into an orthopedic residency is incredibly competitive. And then from there, I was blessed. I had the blessing of being trained by one of the godfathers of hip and knee replacement in New York, Dr. Ranawat, and to get his fellowship, was an incredible challenge. And just working through making sure that I was perseverant, I was persistent, I didn't give up. A lot of times I was told no. A lot of times I was told there's no way in the world you're gonna get that opportunity or that position. But I never took no for an answer. And I just, my mom is always telling me, you work hard, or if you want something or need something, just ask politely or think about it politely. Like, don't just take no for an answer. You got to try, and that was kind of the recipe to getting to the point where I am today.
Wow. I love that you know the recipe of you. I love this. I have never heard someone say those words. And I know that Mr. Grover, is going to be so proud of listening to this because it's true. You earn the right every single moment. But I love the acknowledgement, the joy that it is. For a lot of people I've heard, obviously they are not interviewed in this podcast, but the people that sometimes I heard like, oh my gosh, I had to work so hard. It was a lot of hours. It's like a pain. It's like a victim persona. And what I hear from you is like, these are the formative years. This is what is required. And we don't take no for an answer. What I will add in my curriculum to practice it from you is add the politeness. And, I'm pretty raw. So I'm so glad that you had the wisdom of your mother saying, don't take no for an answer, but be polite. So and I experienced this of you. You have this elegance and devotion service, and this is what I want to talk about. You said, and we both know this teaching of Mr. Grover, pressure is a privilege. And you kind of say it in another way. You said, I was pushed to devotion. And devotion, there's a word in Sanskrit called bhakti. It's the purest form of devotion. It's not even the typical devotion that the marketing uses, like, oh, be devoted to your wife, be devoted to your husband. And it's kind of lukewarm, like, be devoted to your passion. That's so lukewarm. But what you are saying is like, be devoted to your pressure, be devoted to become the best and not get comfortable in being the best. There's always more best, right? There's always more polishing to do. There's always deeper, more unique service that you can render. And I want to talk about this devotion, Vineet, because I have never heard anyone saying I was pushed to devotion. So could you expand in that and talk to people why is it so important to earn the right, be pressured, and really go to the highest of levels of devotion to be able to serve as the best to the best in the world?
I think the whole concept of devotion or being devoted to something, to me, that is kind of the basis of achieving anything. If you want to be at a certain point, at a certain point in your life, you decide, I'm going to take care of people. I really enjoy taking care of people. I've seen my parents take care of people and be satisfied. You have to come to a realization that to get to that point, you have to be committed. And you want to use the word committed, or you want to use the word devotion. You have to give your all. There is no room for compromise. There is no room for average. It is striving for excellence, being resilient, being persistent, being perseverant, and if that is for, people talk about this, and in my life, there are things that I wish I was more, not necessarily devoted to, but more driven to. And I work on this every day. But when it came to my career and what I wanted to do, it was something that I decided that I wanted to do this. And it was multifactorial, right? It was not only the opportunity to take care of people, but I knew that this was going to give me what I was taught in my youth about the whole concept of service to man is service to God. So to me, that also was a kind of very important point that I had to reach and pursue. And I had to be devoted. I had to be committed and devoted to reach to that point.
Wow, I love this, and and you and I share, a couple of spiritual paths, and I love the spiritual precepts that you abide for, and kind of are the pillars of your business and foundation. So I want to talk about them a little bit, but first, I'm so curious in a positive manner, about your experience with Satya Sai Baba. And I know I'm going to put a little parenthesis here that many people get offended when I talk about certain gurus or teachers in the world. But this is Spirituality Now podcast. We're focused on practical spirituality, the real thing. No, we're not going to put you sage all over the place and talk to you about how the moon is going to change your life. We're going to talk about the deep work that we require to do and how everything that you live fully can be such a spiritual awakening for you. So practical spirituality, life mastery, and leadership. So talk to me about Sai Baba, Vineet, because I don't know if you know, but Sai Baba kicked my ASSS, ASS. He literally, he invited me to his house. I was in his ashram in Puttaparthi, right? And I went to his house. I was invited and I forgot to remove my slippers. They had me standing up on the door in the midst of the heat of India, celebration of Diwali, for 2 hours outside because I forgot to remove my slippers. That was my lesson. I went into the house of Sai Baba and never saw him there. He left because I was not mindful enough to remove my slippers. So, with that said, tell me a little bit about your experience of Satya Sai Baba. I loved his teachings.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to talk about Sai Baba. But more than anything, I think one of the things that I always want to clarify and make it very clear is that he has been part of my life since I was approximately 9 years old. Actually, it all started off in Somalia when I first heard about him. And I always there are a lot of teachers and gurus, and people have opinions about what is true, what is not true, what is a facade, what is a money seeking kind of teaching and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fundamentally, let me just tell you this. I said this to my friends. I say this to my wife. To my sons, is that at the end of the day, if anyone asks me about a validity of somebody that has trained me or that has mentored me or that has been an influence, such as, for example, in my life, Sai Baba, the bottom line is that the values, the
Yes.
teachings, no matter what, and no matter what the world would think about it, about him or anything like that, those have formed who I am as a person, right?
Mm,
And one of the key things, I never was pushed to follow his teachings by my parents. I
mm.
actually introduced my parents to him when
Oh,
I was a young
wow.
boy. And there. I mean, there are hours that I can talk about certain experiences and things as to how that whole process came to be. But what I truly, truly appreciated about the teachings of Satya Sai Baba was that all religions are one.
I love
Like
that. Yes.
rivers that all go to one ocean, all religions are one. They
Mm,
teach, and if you follow his the simple five pillars that he talks about, which is Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa, right? You're
mm,
talking about truth, righteousness, peace, love, and nonviolence.
mm.
If you can do that as a human being, you don't need to go to a temple or a church or a synagogue or a mosque. You can stay at home, close your eyes, but be a good human being,
Yes.
and you're closer to God. And so to me, that was really, really attractive. So basically, you have somebody telling me I don't have to go to the temple and I don't have to do all these rituals, but if I can fundamentally follow good characteristics, good human values, that's going to give me that sense of being close to God. And that appealed to me. And also, being at an international school in Geneva, having friends from different countries, different religions, if someone is also trying to, has educated me and what Sai Baba taught me that all religions were one, it allowed me to have a accepting philosophy of people.
Yes.
And that is
Yes.
something that I emphasize to my two sons all the time, is that there's
Mm,
so many differences in the world, but fundamentally there are so many similarities.
yes.
And and that was the beauty of that whole experience, and it's it's very much influenced everything that I do, everything that I believe in. And I work really hard. I work really hard to follow those five, and are there times where I'm not completely perfect at those? Yes. And I reflect on that and try to come back and improve on that aspect of it. So,
Mm,
that's it's been a blessing to that at age 9 I was exposed to his teachings and to be able to
yeah.
have followed them as humbly as possible.
I love that humbling. That brings me to your name, Vineet Shah, right? Humble King, and and it's so true. And I'm so impressed that it was at 9. You know that there is just between you and I and all the people that are going to listen to the podcast, right? It's like a private conversation with hundreds of people that listen. The age of 9 is usually an age of initiation. It's a rite of passage from boy to man. It starts at 9, 12, 13. And if we have the environment that supports that initiation in a peaceful, in a harmonious spiritual way, we will be led to these opportunities where we get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose what precepts we're going to carry in our lives. And so I feel, I will say this like it's good karma, but it's also the choices that you made. And I'm very impressed that in this rite of passage age, you actually brought this to your parents. Usually it's the parents bringing it to the children. So that excites me because, I did something similar in my family at, around the same age. But Vinit, so talk to me now about, you're an incredible surgeon, and I heard you speak at the group of Mr. Grover. And what I was most impressed, I know that if I ever, because I broke my Achilles tendon, I broke like my knee, I've been in recovery for that. I know that if I do surgery, I will go with you, and I've heard Mr. Grover saying the same. But what I was most impressed is that the level of excellence that you do in this work is how you treat your patients and your staff. Can we talk about a little bit of the leadership required to serve your clients and also your staff in a way that you can, let's see if I can put it clearly, that you can behold these principles of Satya, Prema, nonviolence. That's my pursuit right now in everything I do. It's something I'm practicing. How do you keep your clients and your staff, abiding by harmonious principles? That is what makes your practice and your results with your clients so successful. I hope that I'm clear, but I
Yeah.
want to know how is that? Yes.
Yeah, let me try to answer that because I think it's fascinating that you asked that question because about half an hour ago I was having a conversation. This is a new position that I've joined about 3.5, 4 months ago. So getting to getting to becoming more familiar with my staff, and we are talking about philosophies and talking about the practice in our clinic, and you know I made it very clear to the new team, and you've heard me talk about my old team when I was in my private practice. in the past, is that the treatment of these patients, these are not my patients. And even if I work here for the hospital, they're the hospital's patients, but it's our patients. It's my patients, my medical assistants patients, my athletic trainers patients. All of us have to be involved. It's not, they work for me and these are my patients. It's, I want them to have the same feeling about the patients that I do, and I think once you start expressing that and the team starts understanding that they have skin in the game, they also will be appreciated, that they have something, that they're making an impact on someone's life. It changes the whole atmosphere of a clinic. My patients, like when I talk to my patients, I make it very clear to them. It's patients to me are like my family. I would give the recommendations to my patients based on what I think is right for my family. And you mentioned something about my parents and about the financial not taking money. Let's be honest. I get paid to be an orthopedic surgeon, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful that we get paid well, but we work
Yes.
hard for the money. But at the end of the day, it's all about, I've always, in my career at least, I've always worked for a hospital setting. I haven't been in private practice. And people have asked me, why did you do that? And one of the reasons was I have no reason to pick who I treat if I'm just on a salary based kind of situation,
Wow.
right? And if I do well, you do well financially, no problem. And there's always room to do well financially, but doesn't matter what the insurance is or if they don't have insurance, I get to treat the patient. And that's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for me. And, patients are family. And this is, I look at it as being able to do God's work and my hands moving, and that's something that I truly, truly believe in. The day that I feel that this is my work, I am doing the surgery and I am the one, and I starts to become a fundamental part of my conversation. That day I will put my scalpel down and find something else to do,
Yes.
because taking care of patients it's a privilege, it's an honor, it's humbling. It's there's so many beautiful ways, and my wife and I joke about it a lot. She says, you when you come to your office, you're not a very serious surgeon. And I say, yes, I will give serious advice, I will give proper advice, but I want patients and the staff to feel comfortable, because a doctor's office, you coming to be cared for. It shouldn't be, a sterile kind of atmosphere. In the
Yes.
surgery, it's sterile, but in the doctor's office, you should feel some warmth. You should feel some. I share my personal stories sometimes with the patients, if and so that they don't feel that I'm there patronizing them. And
Mm.
that all again, these financial choice of not taking money or how I treat my patients, it goes back to what my parents taught me. Bedside manners are critical. My mom said, I'd rather you not get 100 out of 100 in the test, but have great bedside manners, because people are coming to be cared for. They're not coming to look at your score on the exam. Do well in your exams, but make sure that you keep a human touch. So, that's how I try to strive for my patients, and I strive for my staff. You asked about the staff. I mean, and because it's a team approach, right? Nothing can
It
be done to
is.
take care
Yes.
if it's a selfish approach.
Yes. We just interviewed the incredible Anne Lagutza. She specializes in leadership and in treating good your employees, your staff, treating good the clients. She says, you have to really care for them. People work much better if you truly care for them. People work much better if you truly are interested in them, instead of just what they can provide, what they can do, how much they can make. If you truly genuinely care for people, the results that you're going to have as a company, as a staff, in the medical, in the spiritual, in the financial, in relationships, are extraordinarily higher than if you don't care for the people. So it's so great to find someone, especially a doctor, a surgeon, right? That now I'm so much at ease. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna call the need for my knee, right? But it's far much more. It's no longer only a surgery. It's a whole transformational aspect of who I am. It's feeling good with who I am as a patient, as a staff, and it's such an incredible, powerful thing to experience a team in this area of life. So we're coming to the completion of the podcast, but I want to know, just very quickly, because I know people are going to ask me. This podcast goes to Latin America too, the people that speak English there. How many languages do you speak, Vineet?
I speak 7
Oh my
languages, and
gosh.
it's been just blessed just being where I was in my life, and giving the exposure and things like that. So it's been a real blessing, and it definitely helps when I see patients, and then I can try to speak
What
to them
what
in their
languages?
own.
What language should we do the podcast in Spanish?
Si quieres hablar en español, yo puedo. No tengo problemas.
My gosh, Vineet. Oh my
So I
gosh.
just
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I have a fair amount of patients speaking Spanish here in Chicago, and we have a translator that's available, an interpreter on screen, and I've told each one of them in the last 3 months is that you can be here, but I'm going to speak in Spanish, and if it's really horrible, you can go ahead and correct. And thus far, they've all been kind enough and told me I did okay. So I'm
Vineet,
enjoying that
look at
aspect
our
of it.
team, Vineet. People don't know, but we have our team behind the scenes here, and they are typing in our chat. Wow. They're
Uh,
like, your pronunciation was like, I was like, wow, he speaks better Spanish than I do. What
no,
other languages do you speak, Vineet?
I speak. Well, so if you go in the order, there's Hindi, Marathi, which are languages in India, right?
Uh-huh.
Hindi is the national language of India. Marathi, because I was born in Bombay, that's the Maharashtrian. My dad's from the state of Gujarat, so I speak Gujarati. I also speak some and understand another language called Kutchi. And so there's some overlap. So you have Hindi, Urdu, which is you see people speak in Pakistan. It's very similar to
Wow.
Hindi. So I speak that, I understand that, I listen to music in that language. And then as we transfer myself in life, I grew up in Geneva, and I'm a Swiss American. Alors je parle en français, je peux parler, je peux écrire, je peux faire tout en français.
Oh
Alors
my
c'est pas
God.
dur de parler en français. And then so sometimes for me I can jump into Spanish because that's what I learned in high school. That was
Wow.
the last time I had formal Spanish teaching, and I don't know, Yvonne, I've been so blessed that I didn't forget all of it, and it's for this purpose, right? So I can take care of patients in their language. So
Again,
yeah,
even
so, yeah.
even your multi-talented languages, I speak un petit French, it's just a petit thing, but it comes back to serving and caring for people. And I love that of you. It doesn't matter if it's in business, if it's with your kids, if it's talking about Sai Baba, if it's talking about knee surgery, which you are the best at it, right? In what you do, because of your staff and your team, but it all ends up in the care, genuine care for people. And that speaks about values. That speaks about something that is one of the highest principles in spirituality, that the only scholar that I saw coined it well, it was Confucius, and he called it filial piety. And filial piety is something that a son, a daughter, that respects with reverence their mentors, their teachers, or their mother and father, they can have. And the blessing of that filial piety is that you hold their values, you hold their gifts, and you take them to the next level. And I see that in you. I see that in Mr. Grover. I see that in a couple of friends of mine that are truly reverent to their teachers, truly reverent for their parents. So, what is, Vinith, before we complete and you're going to a basketball game, shout out to the game that you're going to go, and blessings to your wife and your sons. What is, just to complete the podcast, what will be a blessing, words of inspiration, of elevation, of encouragement that you, as a surgeon, as a man, as a spiritual man, as a man of God, would like to convey to our audience today? Something as a gift from your soul to their soul.
One thing that I feel as I've gone past the age of 50, and that I've found and I'm focusing on and spending a lot of time thinking about is the word gratitude. I think we often take things for granted, and I have in my life. My wife dedicated and spent so much time supporting me to get to my level of where I am. My parents have done their share. My sons are incredible inspirations and support to me, and all of that is happening in my life. I have this new job opportunity, phenomenal colleagues, phenomenal people around me to support my friends, and it's taken some time, but I started realizing that I have to focus on gratitude. Gratitude when I wake up and gratitude when I go to bed. And I think once one starts doing that, you have a smile on your face. Because and some people say wake up in the morning and have a smile on your face, and you start off your day with a positive energy. Similarly for me, I would highly suggest and encourage people that are listening to the podcast is spend some time and have some gratitude and really focus on that aspect of life, because it will really change things and it'll put things in perspective. And there are days that just are not great days, but at the
Yes.
end of it, you have to know that things are going to happen and things are what they are. But got to be grateful, and so I am grateful. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for Sherry and Tim and all our allies, and so thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for being in the podcast. I want to close with the words of Satya Sai Baba, because you just said about gratitude. And gratitude is an active, it's an action verb. Gratitude is not just like the feeling, but is the active participation of oneself in expressing that gratitude with actions, right? And Satya Sai Baba used to say, gratitude to all and to everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty. Gratitude like that is gratitude to God, and gratitude to God is prayer. So thank you, beloved Vineet, my beloved ally. You are such a gift, and for all of us, and also for our good bodies too. Thank you for doing all the work to become one of the greatest surgeons, and such an impeccable human. I'm honored to have you, and we hope that you come back when we open the podcast. With video. That's where we're moving ahead. I just like to do it slowly and slowly until we feel that we got it right. But this is your home, and Benit, we're gonna put all your contacts, connections, if people want to connect with you, if they want surgery underneath, if they want to explore more of your the blessings that you bring. We'll make sure that we give to everyone that is listening to us your contact information, and I encourage you to learn more about Vineet and apply some of the core values that Vineet has shown us all, that they work not only for spirituality but for every area in life. Thank you, beloved Vineet.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Same channel, same iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcast, Alexa, Sonos, everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever podcasts are. Remember, we're a philanthropic-based podcast. Is sponsored by the La Flor Teachings International, produced by Brilliant Futures Productions, an incredible team behind this, and it's philanthropic, so we don't have commercials, and you can get the beautiful blessings of our guests commercial free. We love you so much. Les mandamos un beso. Adiós. Thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and share us with a friend. To learn more about how to live more present in the moment and take your faith into action, visit thelaflorteachings.com/faith to access the free training of 21 Days of Faith in Action today.